Do it a different version. Then it's okay.
Okay.
Paula,
Yes.
Claire,
Yes,
sorry, guys, wait a minute.
same
Bill,
present.
Christopher,
Here.
Mazzarelli,
She's with their new grandchild, I think, isn't it?
Yes.
Yep, excused. Okay, everybody should have received a copy of the agenda for today. Are there any questions or comments on that? Okay, if not, a motion would be in order to approve the agenda for tonight. It's pretty lengthy, but they should be fairly quick items, I think. Most of them.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as submitted.
Is there a second?
I'll support.
Any questions or comments from the board? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, it's approved. Next is approval of the minutes from the August 8th Fireboard meeting, or Township and Fireboard meeting. I'm sorry, both. Any, they look okay to me. Any questions or comments on them?
I didn't see anything.
No. I'll motion to approve the minutes from August 8th and also the special board meeting that was August 22nd as submitted. Did
Okay.
anybody have anything on the, I know Bob didn't say.
No, I said, I did, they looked okay to me.
Okay,
So that's your motion. Is there a second to it for all of those?
I'll second it.
Say, any other questions or comments from the board? If not, all in favor, say aye.
aye.
All opposed? Okay, they're approved. We're rocking and rolling. Financials are the next item on the agenda. Budget amendments. Patty, do you have? any?
Yes, we have one for township. We need to, let's see, it's equalization. It was $1,325.94 more than we had budgeted for.
Oh, that's because I think they told us after we budgeted it, didn't they?
I think they did too. So I motion that we do a budget amendment from capital outlay reserve of $1,325.94 into equalization 101-257-801-020.
Second to that.
I'll second that.
Any questions or comments from the board? Janelle, if you take a roll call, please.
Pat,
Yes,
Bill,
Yes,
Christopher,
Yes.
Mazzarelli, Palma,
Yes. Okay. Okay,
I
that's-
have one for fire too.
Okay,
So in professional development, it went over because
We had
Chief.
4 in the fire class, and we had 5 in the EMT class.
yes. So it went over what was budgeted. So the motion is to make a from appropriations act, or no, wait, now wait. Appropriations from the fund balance of $5,000 into professional development 206-342-910-000. And that's my motion.
is there a second to
to
that?
move it
From the fund balance.
okay,
We're gonna do a budget, is that a budget amendment? Yeah, a budget amendment with appropriations from the fund balance of $5,000 to go into the professional development 206-342-910-000.
I'll second that.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board?
So why did you
Chief?
say?
Okay, it's gonna come from your fund balance. $5,000 from your fund balance, and it's gonna go into the professional development 206-342-910-000.
I thought I heard 912.
No, I might have said that. Okay.
So you made a motion.
That's my motion.
and
I seconded it.
Okay.
Teresa second. Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board?
About that motion, no.
Yeah. Do it 4 on it. You know, would you take a roll call on it?
Bill,
Yes,
Christopher,
Yes.
Palma,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Okay. Now,
So I just had a comment though on the general fund,
Mhm.
the very first line on the very first page of accounts payable. And so it was a check that was written to Groveland Township for $91,475.38.
That's good.
And I wanted to point out that that is actually a movement of money from
Oh, okay.
Chase Bank over to State Bank, because that was levy company paying for boroughs and I-75 aggregate.
No, they pay for boroughs,
Boroughs and
Holly, sand and gravel, and
whichever
the old
ones.
curse,
and-
the American.
So
All three. of them.
there were two bunches of tax payments, and I have requested that they put it into the state bank where the tax deposits go, but they put it into Chase Bank where they do their mining ACHs to begin with. So anyway, we just had to write a check from ourselves to ourselves so that it could go to a different bank, and that's what that large number of $91,000 is. So.
And that's why the 101 account is $105,480.53 this month, and 701 was 181.25. And it was a total of 105,661. 78. And that was for township. And the fire was a total of $5,986.63 for the month. So my motion is to accept the accounts payable as submitted.
Okay, any question? Is there a second to that?
Oh, I can second that.
Any questions or comments from the board? And if not, Janelle, would you take a roll call?
Christopher,
Yes.
Yvonne,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next one's the financial reports.
Revenue
We
and
did all that. right?
expense.
Yeah.
Yeah, does anybody have? I guess I can motion that we accept the revenue and expense report with the budget amendments already agreed upon, motion for as presented.
I'll second that.
Any questions or comments from the board? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Okay. Now, the next one for the investment report, Teresa.
Well, the investment report is given. I decided to put a little asterisk at the bottom of the column because Oakland County,
Oh, yeah.
they still haven't given the totals for the interest earned in the month of August on the funds deposited down at Oakland County LGIP. So I did put forward the rest of the interest into the public funds line items, but the public funds are not up to date to their full extent because I'm waiting on Oakland County. So next board meeting, you'll have a new total that will say like the end of August is almost accurate, but they can't get it any sooner than this. So this is as accurate as it can be at the moment.
Okay, I remember you discussing that with me when it happened. Okay, I think they're good shape. It's really informational at this point, right?
Yeah,
Okay, and now to the headline event for today.
okay.
Presentation from the Township Auditor, Ken Pelka.
All right.
The floor is yours, sir.
But all the exciting things at once.
Yeah.
First, I wanted to let the board know, our firm appreciates the opportunity to continue to serve as the auditors here at Groveland. We love coming out here to work. I think we have a good working relationship. And you guys do a
Very
good
good.
job. Thing I really like about Groveland is when you have questions, you call it during the year instead of waiting to the very end. So you didn't do that right. But overall, the township is still in a very good financial condition. I just wanted to hit a couple of the high points in the audit report. We'll look at the financial statements, thicker of the reports that you have there. You can flip to page 19. This is more or less a summary of the overall township, a high level looking in at your revenues and expenses for the year. Basically, three major funds. Your general fund, your fire fund and your building department fund. Your general fund consists of your general operating fund, and then you also have a fund called your infrastructure fund. And for our accounting principles, we have to combine the infrastructure fund and your general fund together. So that's the first column that you see there. So let's just run through your numbers there. Your total revenues were just over 1.4 million. Your operating expenditures were 1,071,485. So that tells us your actual operations, you had a surplus of just over $338,000. Then we have these items called other financing sources and uses. And, a couple of these things are your transfers in and out between the funds, and then also the monies that you're receiving on the land contract for the property that was sold. So after you add that in, your overall surplus was $360,383 in your general and infrastructure funds. You started the year in both those funds, the fund balance of almost 5.8 million, and you ended the year with 6,116,547 in your fund balance.
Notably though, in state grants, we got 639,000. So that's a nice hunk of grant money.
So the township, as far as your general operations, are in very good shape. The next column over is your fire fund. And this year, the fire department kicked in an additional 245,000 into one of its, what we call your longevity type liability. That's the pension. So because of that, the fire fund ended up with in the business world, we call it a loss. Governmental, we call it your expenditures exceeded your revenues. So this year, as you can see, the fire department had 1.2 million in overall revenues. The expenses were 1,463,874. And included in that number is the 245,000 that you moved into your MERS pension.
And that number is almost exactly what that was too. I think, Kevin, right?
Pretty
51 is pretty damn close to what it was.
Plus we had the expense of the
Ladder truck, yeah. So it's a couple of big one-time deals.
So after all that is said and done, the fire fund's expenses exceeded the revenues by 231,000. So essentially, it took a 1.9 million fund balance and took it down to just under 1.7 million. The fire fund is still in pretty good shape. Then you have your building department fund. You had total revenues of almost 122,000. Expenditures were 95,634. So you ended up with a surplus of 26,000 in that fund. So you still have in your building fund $955,055 at the end.
And the surplus, I know part of that's in there from things we did before, but it might be worth noting that even though the expenditures are somewhat less than the revenues, going forward, we try to make sure we're funding all of the expenses that should be billed to the building department, So the reason I'm bringing it up here is I think the building is probably going to start to take off as the township property gets developed, because there'll be a lot more permits for all that stuff once we get going. And we may have to take some of the other office costs and move it in there, because ultimately the state doesn't like us to have a big surplus. And I don't think this is big, but I could see where if we start pulling a lot of permits for some big commercial buildings, that number could get larger and will take more work to get processed than what I think Danielle will be able to do on her own. So we have to take some other costs and move it in there and make sure we're covering it the right way. Okay,
That's good to think ahead like that.
once in a while I do that.
You guys have a good team here. You guys
Very
all
good
work
team.
very well. The other thing I did want to mention, other good news for the township, if you could flip over to your footnotes, page 33. About your longevity liabilities, your pensions, OPEB. Actually, fire department's additional contributions to MERS and the other contributions the township made, you are overfunded now by over $1.1 million.
But the reason that happened, I was thinking about that after we talked about it earlier. Part of that is when they gave us the numbers, they've been at the request of the state pretty much all pension funds have been kind of moving that objective rate of return down closer to what they think it is, and that what they think it is basically the state number. I think it's 6.85%. So when they give us the number and they say, here's where you're funded, it's kind of, here's where you're funded right now, and here's what will happen if you go up or down a percent. It makes a difference. And the reason we did it on the fire department is if we hadn't put that in, I think they actually would have been underfunded projection. That's why we moved it in there, to keep them still solid.
The bottom line is, though, you guys are still very well funded.
Yeah, well, we're hoping the end of this year doesn't change that too much.
I haven't opened up my investment statement.
Yes.
I was looking at a footnote on this other page you gave us. We were over expenditure 231,346. The note on the bottom here says we contributed 245,439 to
Yeah.
MERS. So in effect,
Hadn't had that, it would have been okay.
under.
Yeah.
Plus the truck that you had in there.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
you count the truck, we still would have been.
Mhm.
I thought we were pretty close to even. Right. We would have been if we didn't have that.
Mhm.
And that's what you told me the day we left here. And then if you want to flip over a few more pages to your OPEB liability, page 41. You can see in the third column there, you're actually overfunded with OPEB by 449,274. Guys, this is phenomenal because most municipalities are underfunded by these amounts.
I was surprised that MERS, if you look at it though, we're not the only ones. There's most are under, but there was pretty good clip of people that were overfunded the different. There were a couple that were way over. I was surprised that had been in a long time.
I think you guys are probably still up there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we're one of the best. Yeah.
I'm going to flip one more time. Let's just go over to your general funds. I can show you where you came in the budget. Page 61. So this is just your general fund. It does not include the infrastructure. And what this is really, some of the things that the state looks at, really, their emphasis now is how close do you come in with budget. So when you look at your revenues, your total revenues, you budgeted 1,208,188, and your actual came in at 1,395,908. So you ended up with a positive variance of 187,720. Expenditures, you budgeted 1,495,450, and you spent 1,060,224. So you get a positive variance there of 426,226. So you add those two positive variances together, and overall, your positive variance was 613,946. So you're well within your budget. So that tells us as auditors, someone looking from the outside, that the township board does look at their budget on a monthly or quarterly basis to make sure that
We look.
That's why there's questions sometimes when you come in Monday.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
No, I couldn't be happier with the budget. I think it came out great, actually better than I even anticipated.
Yes, sir. Regarding the building department fund, is any, to anybody, is any component of Danielle's time accrued to that?
All of it.
All of it. That's great.
And part of Janelle's because she's been helping.
That's great.
That's what I mean. See, if we didn't do that, it would distort the numbers and make the net, for lack of a better phrase, profit in the building department look larger. And then the state comes back and says, well, you're charging too much for building, that you should lower it.
That's
So
great.
we wanted to make sure we actually loaded all of the office costs that are relevant to the building department. And so half of her cost and all of Danielle's goes in there right
And if you didn't, that would be something your auditors would comment on, say, hey,
Mhm.
you really have these other expenses you need to allocate.
Right.
Cool.
And at one time we didn't, some years back, but we had that very discussion. No, I'm very happy with it. Thank you, Ken.
So do you wanna,
The board could just accept the report. That would be great.
I'll motion that we accept the audit for 2021, 2022 as presented.
Second to that,
I'll second that.
are there any questions or comments from the board? We're not actually moving any money, so all in favor, say aye. Oh, you got a question, chief? I'm sorry.
Just observation, how about contributing half the top cost? Steve makes more copies than I do.
Oh, yes, she does.
That really should.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. Very good
Excellent
point. Thank you, chief. That's very good.
You know, that's a really good thought, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Teresa and I have discussed some of that. We didn't come up with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we made a motion. There's no changes or objections. We need all
All in favor.
in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken.
These audits are not painful at all.
I'm sure you'll be hearing from someone here.
Thank you very much, Ken. You've been great to work with all this time.
Yes.
Okay, next is public hearings. We have nothing on public hearings. We have nothing on unfinished business, but we've got quite a few under new business. The first one was discuss the notice of hearing. I know we put this out, I don't know if everybody saw it, but on the 23rd of last month, they actually had the hearing, 23rd of August, yeah, at 2 o'clock to approve the resolution going forward from the county on the sewer project. I'll just give you a little bit of update on this so you kind of know where we're going. About 2 weeks ago, George Cullis from Holly and I met with Rowe Engineering to go over the sewer project numbers for REUs. And I think all of you know, I've been asking for probably about a year. When are you going to show me how these numbers work so I could start to show it to the board and put it in some kind of layman's terms that the numbers work? Because we were concerned, both George and I, but especially I, that after the extensive delays caused on this project, when it went through the county, that we might not have enough REUs to make it work at a reasonable cost. And so a couple of weeks ago, George and I met with Rowe Engineering, we went over it. And I said, there's a couple of things that came up that I'll let you know. One, the DNR's $2.5 million is already being spent for their upgraded their sewers, their septic systems. So it's not available for the sewers because they were willing to put it off, but not forever. And it took too long to get the project going from the county. Oakland County Parks put the money into their pump and dump station over there. I think that was about $500,000. And they still want sewers someday, but it might be 5 or 10 years they need to build it into the budget. And then the third thing was the mobile home park, which has had failing sewer system, a treatment plant there most of the time that I've been out here for 27 years. I asked a question at a previous meeting and said, because they've said when the sewer line goes past them, the Eagle, the old DNR, will want them to tie in. And I said, okay, well, 2 questions. Oakland County's table for how many REUs different kinds of buildings takes is only 0.6 of 1 REU for a mobile home as opposed to 1 for a house. And I said, why is that? He said, well, they don't think there's that many people in it. I said, I don't think that's what I saw when I went through there. I think they should be 1. And at an earlier meeting, he said, well, you don't have to accept their number. But when I asked him at this last meeting, he said, yes, you do. So the 225 or 29 lots in there gets whittled down to something, I don't know, like about 185 or something. And then I asked him, you said that the Eagle Group would make him tie into the system. I need to know, will they actually make him tie into it? And the row engineer said, well, push comes to shove, not really. So if you take out $2.5 million for the Eagle in the recreational property, you put off $500,000 in the campground for 5 or 10 years, and I can't force the 229 that should be tied into a system. You've taken the bulk of it away. They added up all the smaller single units, and it was only 78 of the REUs, which is not enough to do anything. And on our industrial park planning, we had originally divided the property up into about roughly 2.5 acre lots. And then when it looked like the sewer project was just languishing forever, we changed it to roughly 4.5 acre lots. So I said, I can't just go back and flip flop that stuff. And I have people interested in the property now. I can't tell them, put the septic in, and then 2 years later, you just throw it away and put in a sewer line. So I was very concerned. And this time, the road engineer said, yeah, I'm glad all we do is we put the numbers together, but it's gonna be hard. So they haven't gotten back to us yet. The one possible saving grace on this, because the sewers have to be decided basically by April 1st, fish are cut bait. And that is, they have to come back to us and tell us what the numbers look like with the revised REUs. And I think that's going to make it difficult, if not impossible. And the only other avenue would be that Brian Coburn had said he thought there might be a good chance getting the water revolving fund stuff that goes through the federal government to pay for the whole first stage, which would be just to get the capacity to the county line. I said, if that happens,
I don't know why I'm doing that.
you know, if that happens, that would be great. So I just have to let you know, I haven't got the report back from rural engineering, but I begin to get extremely concerned and cautious that that sewer project will not be able to be justified, but we'll wait and see what Roe comes back with and then what Brian Coburn tells us. Okay, so that we're going to know all of that sometime between today and April the 1st, because that's when we have to decide. So that's kind of what's happening on the sewer drain. And this meeting, I didn't even go to it, but everybody knew they were going to approve the language on it. Okay. Now, the good thing about that is, you remember when we originally took some ARPA money and sent it to them, it's like a Wimpy's and Popeye's commercial for give me a hamburger today, I'll give you a quarter on Tuesday, right? We had to all chip in roughly $50,000-$60,000 a piece from the 4 communities, and we were told we would get half of it back. I've been asking for that for months and months. I think the email I got today is the one that I talked to you about, Teresa, that Janelle and you and I can discuss tomorrow, but it looks like they have approved the resolution in the county to refund that half of the money. So we've got to turn some paperwork in to get that tomorrow. So I think that's coming out the fight, which should be roughly about $25,000 or $6,000 back to us, which we were going to use for the chief's fire, the ARPA money that we use for the chief's fire truck for one of them.
Ambulance.
I'm sorry, ambulance, that's what I meant. So that's the discussion on the northwest drain, just so you're up to date on it. The next item is to discuss the car show, and I think Vinny's putting it out on the sign there, and we started getting some flyers
It's on the
done.
sign.
It is going to be October the 8th. I know people, some of them have been calling in asking about the car show. And one of the things we have to do is, last year we put an ad in of the flyer in the Citizen. I think roughly this next week was when the other one was in. And this year we're kind of lucking out. We don't even have to get the stage from the county. Believe it or not, some organization went to the Holly Chamber of Commerce and said, I got a stage you guys can use for nothing. So there's going to be a band there, get the stage for nothing. Holly Chamber is taking care of all the advertising and stuff. I just had to hit up one donor in our community who was gracious enough to agree to do it again. And that's the haunted house. And so I would like to, because I'm hoping we have good weather again, do 2 quarter-page ads if we could, and actually lower the price of the ad a little bit this year. I think it's $205 in the memo. So if it's agreeable, the township, what I would like to do is put 2 quarter-page ads in, one this next week that it can get in, and then one just before the car show. Hopefully remind everybody. Everybody seemed to have a great time, and it was pretty good turnout, and we've been lucky for 3 years we've had good weather every day. So we have again gone to the pastor at the Waypoint Church, and I reminded him several times that his responsibility was, again, get in touch with God, make sure it doesn't rain on the day of the car show until after we're done, like it did last time.
Right. I think this is a really nice ad. Did the Holly Chamber of Commerce put this together?
Yeah.
And are they advertising in the Tri-County Times and other places around in Holly?
He's had several things that he used for advertising. Some of it's on the radio. So
Okay.
they've taken care of all the rest of that.
Okay.
What really my part, this has been the lightest year for me. It's will we put these ads in? And Angela has contacted the Flaming Pistons, not the Flaming Christians, a couple of times for me because we had the mailing list and reminded the secretary to tell them what the date is. So you know, if everything goes well and the weather's good, I think we should have a pretty good turnout. I know I've had people come into the office and ask me if we were doing it.
Yep.
So I think we're good, and I'd just like to help it boost it along on this. George has got visions that if we get enough people coming on this, we'll make the show like twice as big by the time we get done with it. So
Well, the cruise is really a great feature, you know,
Yeah.
everybody loved it last time, I
it
think.
was really very cool to watch.
So that's my motion. Would the board be willing to, I would like to suggest that the board put in 2 quarter-page ads in the Citizen, one in the next issue and then one the issue just before the show. Is there a second?
I'll
Second it.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, Jim got it, I think. Okay, any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, if not, Janelle, would you take a roll call on it?
De Palma,
Yes.
Bat,
Yes.
Bills,
Yes,
Christopher.
Yes.
So I'm gonna get to Angela tomorrow because she knows everybody out there and have
okay.
contact him, okay?
Mhm.
Sorry. She needed her roller skates today.
Okay, the next item, okay, I think this one was brought to us by Danielle, and you want to cover
Yes,
this
it
to discuss
was.
new business
So-
registration fees?
New business registration fee. So when somebody moves into like a business or a business moves out and somebody moves in, this is to cover new business. And it's a form. They need to come in and let us know what they're doing. And if there's going to be any changes and such, like if they're going to move a wall, they are going to need a building permit, so on and so forth. The fee on it is $500. None of that fee stays in the township. It's for the 500, it's a fire inspection at $65, a building inspection at $65, an electrical inspection at $65, a plumbing inspection at $65, a mechanical inspection at $65, and a registration fee of $175. Totals $500. Therefore, that gives the new person coming into that building with their new business, the building's looked at and they know that, you know, the electric's good, so on and so forth. So this is something that Danielle has asked about. And
I think it's a great idea. and
Yes.
We need to make sure we keep the costs up with whatever. the
yep,
communities
I
are
do
charging.
too. So my motion is to approve a new business registration form to be filled out. And approval and a denial form that the building inspector and the other inspectors will look at. And a total amount of $500.
Is there a second to that motion?
Can I ask a question first?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was wondering if do we have something in place that's similar to this already? I mean,
There's nothing in the ordinances as far as I can tell.
so if
We had something years ago, if I recall, and it was like $10. You didn't get anything for it. They just wanted you to come in, so
And almost
a
nobody did
change
it.
of use. Yeah, and almost nobody did it. But with this, you know, a new business comes in, we encourage them anyway to, you know, they come in asking. So generally they get an inspection.
yeah, I mean, like I'm
The
thinking
inspections.
about, you know, the small business, the finery that came into the beach.
Yes.
They've since gone out because they came in right before COVID. But they did come in for
Timing's everything.
some
Yes, they
building
did.
permit and an electrical and something for a sign and this and that. But you're saying if a new business were to come in and just waltz in and didn't need to change a darn thing about where they were located, you'd still, this is sort of saying, if it's a
We
new
would-
business, we're gonna make sure that everything is up to snuff, so to speak.
Right, from when the last business left.
Right, okay, which I think is a great idea. I mean, I was wondering if it was a consolidation of existing fees or is there
Well,
like a site plan?
These are, no,
involved?
they don't need a site plan or anything. These are the actual fees for like a building inspection one,
Right,
a plumbing, electrical
Plus, even on those
inspection.
strip malls, when they move in,
Yeah.
usually they do some different interior partitioning.
oh, yeah,
They move
They add
in.
some plugs. If it's a medical facility, they gotta put those specially, I think they're grounded plugs or something in and everything.
And sometimes they don't come in and somebody will notice or in the past, yeah.
right,
Also, anytime somebody moves out of one business and comes in and starts a new business, they really should let the township know anyway, a change of use type thing. So that would cover this too.
so I see where the inspector fees come in there, but there's a registration fee and
Right.
I don't know if you meant to say that none of it.
Oh,
stays
I
in the
was gonna
township,
say,
But I mean, some of
Um,
it is admin fees
yeah,
that does.
the admin
Because
fee
it goes
would be,
towards offsetting the cost of
Yes.
the building and
For-
department gal.
yes, yes. So, yeah, $175 of it would be for Danielle's fee for working. For working in, I mean, it would go into admin,
Well, there's admin fees and then there's inspection fees and it all
Mhm.
adds up to 500.
yes.
So
exactly.
I think it's a reasonable thing if, especially if it's on par with what other communities are charging for new business registrations.
Yeah.
It does ensure that someone's been out there to make sure that all, all of the
Safe.
trades are safe.
It's just commercial zone properties.
I don't know the answer to that question.
That's the only businesses that would be.
There's a lot of home businesses that's on.
Oh,
We don't even know about most of those.
yeah.
I know, I'm saying, it's not a line,
Yeah,
you know,
well, they don't, because if it was a business, it's like they sell Amway, those are home businesses we don't really regulate, but if they started running a warehousing operation or something, they would end up getting the ordinance officer telling them you're doing it in the wrong zoning district, so not only would this apply, they'd have to move.
And do we have an ordinance already? I didn't quite understand.
We do not have an ordinance that states.
So is that something that we need to do?
Well, there was some discussion on
Actually,
that.
administrative fee, I don't think we have to
It's
put it in
actually,
an
yeah.
ordinance.
There was some thought on it, but for
I
right
think
now,
this is a
just
finite
do
way.
the registration. We could go with that.
Are there any other questions?
No.
If not, did we have a second on it? I need a second.
Did we have a
Okay.
first?
Do we have a first?
Yeah.
I
She made a
motioned.
motion, yeah.
Yeah.
So we need a second.
Did you get my motion? Okay, I figured you did.
To accept this as submitted?
Yes.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board? If not, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Okay, it's done. All right. Next item, the no-has information. Here you probably see, I'm really just doing this for information. Every time a contract, which is usually a 3-year contract, expires, the county, who kind of spearheads the no-has program, sends it out for bid again. And this time, the only bidder that was willing to respond to it is the existing provider. And there's pretty hefty increase in it. So if you look at the information that's in here, she has some estimated expenses for what it would be on this sheet here. And that's assuming we still want to charge $10. We haven't got the actual final contract. It should be coming in the next month or two. I just didn't want anybody surprised about it. So I thought I'd give you all a copy of this so you'd see what happens. But the cost of getting rid of this stuff is getting more expensive. And my concern would be if we raise the fee more than either the 10 or 15 bucks, most are at the 10 bucks. You'll start getting people that won't do it, and then they drop it off on side streets out here.
Oh,
And I have to call the fire department, and they got to figure out how to get rid of it. It costs us about 8 times as much.
Well, this is definitely a conundrum. I
Mhm,
mean, I read the whole thing and I was like, oh, so they're throwing out a few ideas
mhm.
and some different options like.
Yeah, with or without
let's
paint.
Collect it with or without latex paint. Let's collect with or without
Electronic.
electronic waste and so on and so forth. But I mean, for them to sit and think that they're gonna be able to charge $64 a car, even for the minimum, in the future.
That's what
That's
we're
for
paying.
minimum.
Yeah,
Oh, this is what it would cost us.
that's what the provider wants to charge us,
And then we offset that
by
by,
$10 usually.
oh, so what are we currently paying per
I
car?
don't have
Is
it
it
in
like
front of me, but I
30?
thought it was like, I thought the last one was like
45,
maybe.
42, something like that?
But this is a pretty hefty increase over what it was.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
to give them the same exact as what we're doing now is more than double.
Do you think somebody would pay $25?
No,
I don't think so.
no, I think
I
if you
think-
raise it to 20, $25, people will not
Okay.
come, and then we end up with
Yep.
sitting on the corners like we've had in the past years where I got 10 gallons of something, and I have no idea what it is, but it's
Right.
on the corner of Gossman and Grange Hall Road or something,
Yeah.
From what I work down there, been around there, most cars just bring a few things, some of them bring like 3 gallons of paint and stuff like that, so they're not gonna pay that much, but
No,
I'm not volunteering to collect it up and bring it down there.
And they
for
don't
one
want you to
people.
do that.
Yeah, I know, but it's,
Somehow they could consolidate. That's what
consolidating,
he's saying.
for.
I'll tell you what would
we
happen.
do.
though. If you did that, I'll almost be willing to guarantee you the rate will go up because the providers of this say we're not even supposed to do what we do with the batteries. It's just that we're so small.
mhm,
It's not a big enough thing when it goes through the whole day, So some guy shows up, one of the firefighters, and he brings in a tub of batteries, right? But if you consolidate them, they'll tell you, they'll just raise the price even more, that's all.
mhm.
Because what it is, it's really predicated on how many gallons of that paint they have to get rid of later. And that's true, there's other ways to do it. If it's latex paint, you can leave it open and put sand in it, and get it hard.
Sure.
But I'm just telling you, people don't do that. The only reason this program has worked so well, even though it's going up, is because it makes it easy for people to get rid of
Yeah.
it. If you don't do that, it ends up on the intersections.
I know at the south end of the county, they have soccer.
Soccer and Ross on the west side,
But here,
we don't have.
we have nothing, so.
So you're saying that this is,
I don't have the final price for you, but
This is
these were
just an
the stuff that
FYI.
was, because they had that conflict on the day of this first meeting. So when she gets it, she'll give it to us and tell us which one they want. She polled everybody on it. So
which committee met for this? I was looking at.
it's a solid waste committee. It's
Solid
all,
waste
it's the representative that each municipality puts in it, along with usually 2 people that are out of the county, which is basically Whitney and Brad, I think is the other guys.
Okay.
There's nothing to do, it's just I wanted to let you all know, so nobody is surprised when we actually get whatever the final is.
I would think a lot of people take electronic stuff.
They do, they like getting rid of that too, and that's getting
That's true.
very expensive to get rid of.
Yeah.
That, and I think the paint is what's driving the cost up so much.
They don't take old boats, right?
No, but you can
There's-
take old bolts,
Give me
you
one
can
There's
take
an
old.
old boat parked
No,
on
I've heard that, I've known.
Jossman Road at the state park,
Really?
little parking area, and it's filled with trash. And I guess it's been there for a while.
Someone
Mike.
needs to call this DNR.
So who do we, oh, the DNR? Yeah, well.
It's their parking lot, and
It
they can
is.
get rid of it. They have to take it to someplace like Eagle Valley or the one up on M15. Because Brad gets rid of old boats when he parts out the motors and stuff. He takes the hulls and I forget what they charge him, but he takes any junk he doesn't want, throws it in the home, takes it to the landfill, and they get rid of it for him for
yeah,
some fee.
I'm pretty sure it's just dumped there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
it is. It
There's one
is.
by our house, I go down there on my Ranger regularly for garbage.
Bags, do they leave in bags of it?
Bags, there'll
Just-
be boxes. of
You
stuff.
know, if you get stuff though, and you happen to get a name on it, because the problem's always been, we don't know who it is and you never see them when they do it. But if you get something and it's got,
I'm talking about one of my trail cameras.
Yeah, there's not.
But if you get one and it's, says this belonged to Bob DePalma on Groveland Road, give me that and I'll try and get the state police to see if we can get it.
Just they
stabbed
usually
for
just
you.
put on gloves and just.
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of looking at it.
Well, yeah.
What about the
They shouldn't do that.
boat ID?
Yeah, is
You
there
could
a
take that to the
license?
state police and give them the VIN ID, but boats are not quite like cars. You can actually take a boat, if somebody had it unhooked on the freeway because they had a bad tire or something and unhooked it, drive up to that boat, hook it up to your car, and drive it somewhere, and then eventually take it to the Secretary of State and pay a bond that is technically twice the perceived value of the boat, and they will give you the title to it. I don't understand why it's not done like a car, but it's not. And so people can steal boats, I think, a little bit easier. And if I had to guess, most of them old boats you see, probably, yeah, there's that one in Italy that sunk on the side, right? I think you'll find that a lot of those boats and stuff have probably gone through 4 owners by the time you do it. You could check the VIN number. I'm not guaranteeing that it's been registered in a reasonable enough time to do anything, because usually boats kind of languish for a long time before they finally get dumped in the parking lot or whatever it is. But you could check, the state police could try and look it up. I'd be surprised if they did it on something that's abandoned.
So I'm guessing the DNR rangers don't go around and check these.
No, but it's really their parking lot. So just like if somebody dropped it on your house, you got to get rid of it,
Sometimes
right?
they do, like I have seen them down there,
Yeah,
but it's not like they're going there every week. and
No.
checking it.
yeah,
So it's easier just to get a big black bag, pair of gloves,
Right.
drive my Ranger down there.
If this is a
Unless
boat,
you
so
get a
somebody's
boat.
probably got to hook
Yeah,
the boat.
this
Is it on a
is-
trailer?
It's on a trailer.
So it's gonna need a flatbed.
Yeah, that gets
I was thinking
expensive.
about
Are the
that company
tires
that we
Buyers?
had, no, that company that we had.
hunks.
Oh,
The
junk.
hooks hauling junk.
Junk?
Yes, and maybe, but since it's on DNR land, I didn't
We
think
would
about
have
the
to
fact that it was
pay.
probably DNR's responsibility to get rid of it, but. I mean,
If it's got to
if
go
it
on a
gets
flatbed, it
towed-
ain't going to be cheap to get it out of there.
Okay.
Are the
I'll-
tires blowing up on the trailer tree?
I didn't see
You
it.
didn't go try to
I
ride
mean,
it?
I saw it, I just didn't, I didn't.
I
go
would
to the
bet
area.
you that them tires are so old,
Right.
the cracks in them are as deep as the
Um,
earth.
It just got the trailer there.
So I'll get with you tomorrow and figure out how to get a hold of the correct person
Okay.
at DNR.
Okay. Well, the no has was just an FYI to keep you up to date on it. Next item is this resolution that they asked for on the drinking water for one of the
It's for
mobile
the
home parks.
Oak
They were
Hill.
supposed
Oak
to
Hill.
give you one that was already all filled out.
They never sent. I will call him tomorrow and see if he will try to send it again.
Yeah,
Okay, if he doesn't, then we have to fill this out. We
Yeah.
need a motion then.
We still need a motion.
This
to-
says we don't want anything to do with the water. And believe me, on a mobile
Do
home
we all
park, you don't
agree?
want to accept the water
Right.
system or the sanitation system because they're very expensive to fix. and We
correct.
get nothing out of it. So Patty, do you want us to, by resolution, say, if you can't get the original, we'll approve and sign this one?
Well, we don't have one. It doesn't appear we've had one with Oak Hill. We've had one with Groveland Manor
Yes.
for years.
So this one you do need for.
This one I need, and
Okay.
I will see to it it gets filled in correctly.
Okay,
And then we'll just move by and supported by.
okay.
And then I think I just have to sign and date it down here that it's a certified true copy, and I'll send a
So do you want to make the
set
motion
of the
that
draft
that we approve
minutes.
the resolution?
Yeah. I approve, or I motion that we approve the resolution to want nothing to do with. the-
With the deepest
What do you
of
want me to-
affection and love,
How do you put that? That,
we don't want the
we
responsibility.
do not want the responsibility of the Oak Hill Mobile Home Parks water, drinking water system. Is that it? Is that
Yeah. Is there-
drinking water?
Is
Yeah.
it drinking water?
Yeah, it's
Only?
drinking.
Okay.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, any
Okay.
questions or comments from the board? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Oh, yeah. Okay. The next one is on the library. Now, I can tell you that in the 26 or 7 years I've been here, the Holly Library's never raised the fee to us. So here, he called me the other day, said, what was your census number? And I gave it to him, and 5912. And so this is their bill for the year. They've raised it from $1 to $1.34 per resident, but that's such a phenomenal
Went up
service.
34%.
Yes, but that's 34% in 27 years.
Right.
So I think it's a phenomenal deal. They run a nice little library. They treat our residents nice. I would recommend that we approve paying the Holly Library bill. As submitted.
Okay,
Is it?
that would, well, I was just gonna make a comment.
Oh.
So if we pay our 6,500, which we've already paid, they're saying we owe 142208 the way their scale's gone up. That would leave us owing for the year, it would be 7,92208.
We don't know for,
What,
you mean paying for the year, the total.
the
Yeah.
total would be-
79.92, that's on the top, yeah.
We already
We
paid
only owe the
the
14.22.
65, we only owe the 142208.
Correct.
But the total for the year, that's all I was gonna make a comment on, was
See,
792208.
okay,
Okay,
So it went up by $1,422.
in 27 years. Maybe longer, I don't know, that's all I can remember back to. So,
So then going forward, it's always going to be this amount until they decide
until
this
the next
case-
census,
based on population,
yeah,
well,
or their fee goes up.
or their fee goes up, right? I only wondered how many people actually used the Holly Library from Groveland.
that lady. raised her
Janelle,
hand.
do you?
Am I worth that much?
Yeah.
You know what? You are.
That's a good question.
I
Well,
use it.
I mean,
I don't, but I'm happy it's there.
Well, when we
Yeah.
were paying Brandon way back 20 years plus ago, we were paying them, I think, 15,000.
Ooh.
And then when they decided to move the library, they said, would we still pay it? I told, I forget her name now, but the lady that was the head librarian, I said, yeah, we'll still pay it as long as we can use it. And then they fired her, I believe, and turned around and put a board in that said, you'll either pay what the millage is that we approved or nothing at all. It was something like $160,000 or $190,000. And I remember saying, we'll take option B.
Mhm.
Okay, so
And this.
this is such a phenomenal deal. I don't know how we can say no.
It is.
And the kids in school use it too.
Right, and this gives access to
To all
our
the
residents,
All residents.
all the residents
All
to
the-
a library.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we,
Sorry.
If you have a Holly library card, you can
Yes.
use it in Brandon.
Yes.
Not for every single thing, but that's
For
okay. You can use it for a
You
lot.
can check a book out,
You can.
if you get the little thing on the,
Yeah,
Thing on the back, whatever that is.
I just.
So did we make a motion?
Well, I did.
Okay, I'll second your
Okay.
motion then, because I think it's, yeah.
Okay,
I think we need to support
so
it.
any other questions or comments from the board?
no, we'll go ahead and see if it's out of line, comment then.
Janelle, would you take a roll call on it, please, because it is for money?
Bills,
Yes.
Christopher,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Bat.
Yes,
Thank you. Okay, discuss Wolf Road RCOC speed study. This came up because you might not remember, but in a galaxy far away, a long time ago, the road commission sent out a flyer, I think about a year ago, and said, we're gonna see if we can try some different speed limits on gravel roads. And if we can come up with any rationale for possibly being able to convince the powers to be to let us adjust some speed limits. So when they did that, they sent this notice out to every one of the townships and said, give me a road you think we could post the speed limits on, and then we're gonna pick from whatever everybody sends us. And I sent them, if you remember, we talked about it at a board meeting. I said, well, let's give them Wolf Road because it's twisty, it's got guardrail in a swamp. People complain about speeding on it, and it's fairly unsafe in spots, you know. So we submitted Wolf Road, and then lo and behold, I don't know, many months later, they called me and said, yeah, we're putting the signs up on it. So I called them back and said, what are you talking about? And that refreshed my memory and said, but keep in mind that even though it's posted 35, you can't write, the police can't write a ticket on it because it's not actually in the traffic records that way. It's to see if they can monitor the traffic, and I don't know how exactly when they're going to do it, but on these various roads like Wolf that they've posted at different speeds, it's to see if posting makes any difference at all. And then I think they're going to go through an evaluation process, and we may end up with some options on gravel roads where we might be able to say, if you don't want it unposted at 55, maybe you got some curves or blind hills or something, maybe we can post them at 45 or 35 or whatever. That's the whole purpose of this process. I don't know what the outcome will be, but that's the purpose of this process. So since they posted it, I think about a month ago or so.
yeah.
I just wanted
I think
everybody
it was
to
the
know.
end of, middle of August.
Yeah,
I saw the box there and then, yeah, they posted.
How are they monitoring?
Well, you
whether or
know,
not people
I
are
haven't
actually
been
following.
down there. I'll take a ride down there. I don't think they've put another box up. I would
Yeah,
think.
usually they have
put
to
a
have
box
two of those pressure sensors to pick it
somewhere
up.
that's picking up the speed.
Or unless they got a
Personally-
new one that measures the difference between the, and I don't know how you could do this, the front tire, the back tire, because cars are different sizes.
It's usually a two.
Two, yes, between you hit the first one and the second hose, they know the distance and do it. But I don't know if there's something else they're doing. And it really, the road commission is doing the whole thing, so it's whenever they get done doing it. It's just like they posted Grange Hall Road from Van Road to the fire station,
Mhm.
55, to see if it actually made a difference. But I don't know how long it takes them to get around to measuring it, because
Okay.
as you know, we've been pretty shorthanded. Our foreman retired a couple of months ago. And as far as I know, he's still not been replaced. In this project on Grange Hall, Groveland Road that they're repaving, Ace Paving is doing it, and Chris Dahl, the second foreman up, said that they're swamped with work and way behind, and I thought they'd be out today to do the other side of the road, because they did the first half last week. Nobody showed up.
My experience from the front porch of 735 Wolf Road says the 35 mph sign is not making a difference.
That's fine.
However, that's, you know,
You live on the straight.
coming
part.
from either way. I was gonna say, now I'm not sure about the curb. I'm gonna tell you though, that road is dangerous. You come
It is.
around that. if
That's
you're
why they
coming
put the
from-
extra guardrail up on it.
yes,
Yeah.
you come from M15 around that one curve. I can't tell you the number of cars that are going toward the M15. I don't know if they don't think it's a 2-lane highway,
Mm.
but man, when they see you, I thought if you were gonna head right into the drink when I'd come around.
You notice the engineer on this is Alex, same guy that worked for the signs for he does all that out here, and he used to be our engineer. I have a very good relationship with Alex. He'll tell us when they finally get something on it. So that was really an FYI. And so
Alex
the
is
people
in charge of the signs.
Yeah. Mhm.
Right.
Next item is a request from Oakland County Health to make September National Suicide Prevention Month. Let's see the resolution they have there. So if
This is just,
somebody wants to make that motion, we can second it and move on to the next item.
well, there's two here. One's for National Recovery Month and one's for National Suicide
Yeah.
Prevention Month.
Make a vote.
So I'll motion that we support and approve the resolution for National Suicide Prevention Month and National Recovery Month during the month of September.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any questions or comments from the board? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, it's done. Next item. This one I think is yours. I can't believe it. I'm not the only one talking about doo-doo. You're asking
I
about
don't know.
the septic system.
So-
The guy in the park.
This Brendel sent a letter stating that are due to the cost of gas and other such issues, everything going up, the cost for the little porta potty out here in the park area was gonna go up. Well, it went from $320 a month to $330 a month.
320
It
or
was- It was at $320 a month.
320? I thought it was like 120. I'm wrong.
It went to $330. And my number, oh, it did. I'm sorry. It was 120, Teresa. I miscomposed my numbers doing a million other things. So it went from 120 to 130. That's much better. And then.
I'm thinking, you just want-
I don't know. There you go. We'll hook up to the sewer there. No, and then the cost of gas, there was a gas charge also. I believe it went to $15 per month for gas charge. And when I talked to them the other day, they're dropping down $5 off the gas charge already.
So it's gonna be
Because
10.
gas is coming down. So it went from 120 to 130. And it's really just an informational thing.
Oh, so
My next question is though, do we want to keep it out there for the winter?
I'm asking, I don't see it from my office. Does anybody use it in the winter?
Yes.
They do? And I'd say,
And
oh,
all,
yeah, I know they use it in the summer when they go on the trail. So
the
I
fat
think
tire
it's
bike
worth-
riders are in
I think
there.
it's worth leaving there instead of having them trying to
Yeah.
get in the office all the
We've
time.
still had people come in and say, thank you for having that out
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that's a small price to pay for,
A lot of people use that in the winter time.
yes, they do. A lot of people walk,
Yep.
it's really, it's very busy back there.
Yep.
Do we want to make a motion so it's just on the
Just want to
record?
put a motion to continue using
Yeah,
it year
Through the
round.
winter, yeah,
Is that your motion?
yes, that's my motion.
Oh, I'm
I was gonna make a motion.
All
You want to
right,
second it?
go ahead,
I'll
Teresa.
make a motion. She can
Okay.
second. All right, I'll make a motion that
There
we
we go.
continue to use Brendel's septic, accepting their increase in price
And
All year.
all year round.
there we go.
Okay, is there a
I
second?
support.
Okay.
Almost there.
Any other
Almost there.
questions or comments from the board?
Great.
Okay, Janelle, we need to vote on this, believe it or not.
Sorry, Janelle.
Christopher,
Yes.
Jamal,
Yes,
Jack,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
okay. It passed.
it passed.
Now, Patty, do you want to discuss the existing smart credits?
Yes, so this is once a year, this comes up, municipal credit, community credit contract. This is for the year 2023. These are the smart credits that are divided between Brandon Township Senior Center and the Village of Holly Senior Center. And this year's total amount is in the amount of $5,529. So $2,765 would go to Brandon Senior Center, $2,764 would go to the Village of Holly. I'm not sure how she split that like
Yeah.
that, but I will question that
Because that doesn't
tomorrow.
add up to
Why would we have,
5,396.
5? Let me do,
5,529.
yeah,
Yeah.
2.
4, 54,
One of those
55?
numbers.
276.
Should be 2,698 each. I don't know why.
What did you get, Trace?
Well, if you just take 5396 and divide it in half, you get 2698.
But we want to take 5529 divided in half.
Oh, 5529.
See what you got.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
what
think
were
it's
you getting the
then
other
it's
number?
I was
It
looking right
still should-
here,
Oh,
but I don't,
It was probably the 5,396 is also supposed to reflect the 5,529.
oh, okay, okay.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
wondering.
but
I will 27.
2,764.50. So they obviously don't deal with change. So they're making one municipality get $1 more than the other.
Yeah. I can check with her tomorrow on that.
Which number is supposed to be correct?
Yes,
5396 or
Yes.
5529?
yes.
Yeah.
So this money comes from the state. So it's based solely on our population is how we get it. And
Oh, this is from the state.
Yeah,
this is
this
for senior transport
Right.
services. This is all part of that discussion that's going on in the November election
well,
for the transport millage that they want to put through.
correct, somewhat. This would not change. My understanding after talking
Ain't gonna
to
do
a few
nothing.
people, I talked to Madonna and she was saying, no, this would still come up next year, even if it passes the
The-
transportation, because it's money from the state. What they're doing is money from the county.
Yeah, all I'm saying is this shows you how few dollars we need for the transport
Right.
services out here because we don't have that many people that really utilize this.
Right.
And that's what the concern has been amongst all the townships that were at the supervisors meeting. This 1 mil tax that they're putting on the November ballot is a significant increase of all brand new tax dollars coming out of mine and your pockets, not the township. It's the residents that live in them. And ours amounts to $252,000 a year. Now, we're spending $5,529 for transport service now. They're going to tax us $252,000, and they can't tell us where any of it's going to be used here or when.
And they're still gonna give you this money too. They're still gonna give them that.
So the net difference that this is the concern that the township supervisor all had. The net difference looks like we're just gonna have our residents paying out of pocket a lot more money for transport services. And I'm giving you what the head of the county commissioners, David Woodward, said. You won't get it in a year or 2 or 3, but somewhere down the year, you might be able to use some of these services. Well, it's a 10-year millage. If it goes 4 years, that's $1 million right there, just from Groveland.
Mhm.
We are not going to use anywhere near that. So that's what our concern is, that we weren't invited into it. And that's why we're working on what should our message be, because you can't have government funds used to tell people to vote yes or no, but you can use it to give them facts on the issue.
Mhm.
Rolling over in his grave.
Who?
I know.
Brooks, yeah, I'm sure he is.
For sure.
I
So-
think a few times.
So
Spinning.
this really is, you just need a motion from us to approve
So,
this, right?
yes, and.
Wherever the amount
so
actually
I'm
is.
trying, let me give him a minute here. So, I wonder why we have two different amounts. This, I didn't catch that at the beginning.
Well, I think that they probably just meant to change both of these and
Okay, so
And
let's
they're-
do this.
Approve it for up to the higher.
I'm going to motion that the township approve the smart credits to be divided between Grandin Township Senior Center and the Village of Holly Senior Center. In the amount of $5,529. We'll go the higher one,
up to
$5,529
to be split.
to
into
be
half.
divided. And then, yeah, that should work. And
Mhm.
Okay, is there a
I
second to
will
that?
check it.
I'll second it.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board? Janelle, can you take a roll call on it?
Paula,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes,
Bill,
Yes,
Christopher.
Yeah,
Okay, Patty, this next one's yours too, I think, the fill-in building inspector.
yeah. The, I was gonna say, the split, or the last year's amount was $5,396. So I'm thinking there was a typo.
Mhm.
Okay. So the fill-in building inspector, yeah. Let me see. I had a paper with his name on it that I don't have right here anymore. Janelle, do you know who it is?
Do
Janelle?
I know?
Yes.
No.
We have to have a fill-in building inspector and Michael. I'm drawing a whole blank now. Yeah, Jason Walton recommended this fella and I don't.
Oh, the guy
Is
came
his
into the
name
office.
Joe
the other day.
Harris?
Is Joe?
It's a Joe or a Joshua.
Harris.
Yes. I don't know if it's Harris though. Joe,
Is it the one that Danielle was telling me about?
yeah, maybe
I think
I
that's
remember you
Joe
mentioning it. I
Harris.
just
All
don't
right.
know who he is. I never met him.
Joe Harris. Well, yeah, we need a fill-in building inspector. That's who Jason suggested. He came in, filled out his paperwork. Did Danielle give you the paperwork? No. I wonder if it's on her desk.
Oh, I think I saw the guy in the office once. He picked up the stuff when he first
Yeah.
started.
Yes. I could go look on her desk. Do you want to talk about the Wolf Road?
I'll kind of a message.
Yeah,
Huh?
I'm
You
sending
just want
one.
his name.
Yeah.
There was some. paper.
I didn't have, he didn't put in a resume or anything. We just had him fill out an app and a W, yeah, all
Patty,
that.
is he somewhere else now as well?
He's a builder right now. He was a building inspector. He has the qualifications to be the building inspector, but right now he's doing building. So.
That's state licensures, right?
Mhm. What was it?
Joe Harris.
Joe Harris.
Joe Bill.
Good job,
Joe.
Teresa.
Joe Builder. His email, Joe Builder.
Joe Harris. So I motion we hire Joe Harris as recommended by Jason Wilton, our building inspector, as a fill-in building inspector.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay, by Teresa. Any other questions or comments from the board? It's not really for money, so we can do it by motion. I think, on this.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, it's done. Last item on the agenda under new business is the gravel roads, and I had, if you remember, last year, because they were doing Barron Road, Barry was doing, I think, 2 or 3 miles of Perryville.
Mhm.
He could not do the last mile because the contractor that had the Barron Road contract decided to block Perryville Road up when they were doing the spread, and he wouldn't move it. And Barry said, I cannot back a gravel train up a whole mile of road and start spreading it. It just won't work. So he's had the gravel sitting in his yard since then. And I have talked to Chris Dahl because our local foreman left. Normally he would have given us the roads, but we never got them. So I kept on telling Chris, give me the roads you think we should gravel. And he did that late last week, which is, he feels the 0.6 of a mile on Wolf Road should be re-gravelled. And he feels that Jossman from Grange Hall to Groveland Road, which is about 2.2 miles, should be gravelled. And they said, if there's any left over, I'll spread it wherever I can use it. And so remember, we have the mile for Perryville Road that's left at Barry Bass's yard. So we got to pay him for that one. Get spread, because I held it back last year. And then we have, under the agreement I did with Levy Company, 3 miles of gravel sitting at the old Kurtz pit that they mixed up this spring. And Chris said he's already seen that. So on that one, we've got to pay Barry to do the trucking on it, but we don't have to pay for the gravel. And that's 7 or 8 years, if I can't remember right now, that I did on that agreement of free gravel for us. So altogether, when we're done, we'll do these 3 miles plus the mile of Perryville. So there's 4 altogether for this year.
So Chris Dahl just recommended the roads, but they're not, Oakland County's not graveling them. We
No,
are.
we are. Well, yeah,
With 3 miles worth of gravel.
we
from Kurtz.
drop the gravel, his grader cuts it over.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
So let me,
so he's the one who came up with these based on his
Just
observations.
because I tell him every year, give me the 3 miles you think are the worst, and that's what he gave me. But we're actually doing 4 because we had that 1 mile left over from Perryville last year, but we had already approved it. It just couldn't be put down.
Sure.
right, so are we gonna owe Barry, just so I have it,
You're gonna owe Barry, I think.
for
I think-
spreading the rest on
Yes.
Perryville?
I think it was 40 grand for spreading the 3 miles, and I think there's 40 grand left on last year's contract that we held back for the
So we
Perryville
didn't-
mile.
Pay him, okay.
We paid it, remember, he wanted to get paid because he had done all the rest, and I said, well, I gotta hold back the 1 mile, he didn't get done on Perryville.
Okay.
So I think if you check, I'm pretty sure we paid him 160 last year, on what was $200,000 worth of road gravel altogether.
And that was Grange Hall to Groveland on Johnson.
Yeah,
So we're gonna owe him 40,000 for
for
these.
trucking it, 40 for what we owed him
2.8.
last year. Yeah.
Okay,
And then we have, I think, I believe, if I remember correctly, last year, the deal I did with Levy is, I think, 7 more years of
Mhm.
3 miles a year for free, in which we just pay the trucking.
okay.
So I told Chris I'd let him know right away because, he likes to get it done, excuse me, and then get some chloride on it. And this hasn't been us holding it up. He's been swamped and
Mhm.
nobody's doing it.
I think those are good choices.
So, okay, you want to make a motion that we do this?
I'll make a motion that we take the recommendation of Chris Dahl and do 0.6 mile Wolf Road and 2.2 miles of Jossman from Grange Hall to Groveland with gravel. Is that this year? Still
Yeah,
this year
from Levy Company.
from Levy Company, with gravel from Levy Company being spread by Barry Bass.
Okay. There's a second to that?
I'll second.
Okay, and any other questions or comments from the board? And since it does include money for the spreading that, Janelle, could you take a roll call on it just to be safe?
Matt,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Christopher,
Hmm.
and Paul.
Yes, okay, so I'll take care of calling Chris tomorrow morning. And I'll talk to Angela about that ads we gotta do. Okay, that's it under new business. Next is miscellaneous reports, Holly Area Youth.
I don't really have anything to report. They're getting a new caseworker. So Reagan is been moved somewhere else. I'm not sure where she.
Reagan has moved to
Because
Waterford.
we're getting the same new
The same
case.
caseworker is shared between Brandon and
Groveland. I think she's gonna
Brandon
start
and Holly.
out
Yes.
now, coming up here. So next time
I think she started September 1st.
okay. So do you have any information on her? I didn't. have-
She's coming from someplace like in the southern part of the county. And she's excited to be coming. So they, yeah.
Okay. That's pretty much all I have.
Want me to do Brandon now?
Please.
Okay, so Brandon, Groveland Youth, their meeting is tomorrow, but, and I believe the new caseworker is supposed to be there. Her name is Tasha Hanson. And so I guess it says she'll start September 6th. So she just started last Labor Day, right? With this school year. And as always with BGYA, I guess what I will say is they keep their website and Facebook page up to date. And also there are articles in the Citizen on occasion with steps and stories and other things that Brandon Groveland Youth Assistance is involved in. The upcoming stuff they have is Witches Night, October 8th in downtown Ortonville. There will be some opportunities for some fundraising, I guess, that would sponsor, that would benefit BGYA. And I know there's some other things, but I'll learn about them at the meeting tomorrow, and I guess I'll have an update next month. Because there really wasn't a whole lot new. There's Love and Logic going on in October. Registration is open, but again, all these things are on their Facebook page and in their website.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Okay, planning, Jim?
Few things to go over. First of all, I was absent last planning commission, however, we approved the off-road vehicle, it's called Ford Fest.
Mhm.
I don't know that culture all that well.
That's what
And
it's called.
from what I hear, I guess it was okay.
Well, I don't think they've had it yet. It's this weekend, but I mean, the sound testing we did, Neil did an outstanding job documenting it with our sound DB meter. This should not bother anybody, really. There was more noise of the normal traffic going down Dixie Highway, standing on the side of the road, than was coming out of the pit with a 707 horsepower Jeep. So the big difference is they built that little berm up on the parking lot, and then they dumped thousands of tons or yards of wood chips that a guy donated to them on the sides of the banks of a lot of the park. It stopped the erosion and it acts like carpet, so it absorbs all the sound. It worked great. And Neil did a wonderful job documenting it.
And then regarding the ongoing, if you want to call it, monitoring of the Ren Fair, the last couple of days, Bob and I have had some dialogue. I had some this afternoon after you and I talked. And that is that the communication hasn't been the quickest coming from Row Engineering, unfortunately. However, from an email I see here for the first time, Row is asking Fishback if they want to participate. They're intending to collect data this weekend.
Yeah.
Now, Fishback made it clear, in fact, they want some free tickets to be able to get in.
I'm sure Kathy.
We've already got it.
Okay.
That's going to happen. I can't tell you if it's Saturday or Sunday, but according to Mike Lavati, who I spoke with today.
Well, both days are supposed to be good this weekend. Weather.
Yeah.
Could be bumper crowd.
And I made it clear to Mike on behalf of the board that not to worry, that they will get paid one way or another. That did not seem to be an issue. The reason I say that, everybody, is apparently it's been a little slow getting payment from the renter.
But I did check with Kathy. She did send the bill to Peterson, and Danielle told me today that Kathy called and said Peterson wanted copies of the minutes that must have approved it. I said, great. I care. It's not the job of Groveland Township residents to pay to teach the Renaissance Festival how to run its fair.
That's all I've got related to the planning commission.
Okay. BZA Gina's not here, and I don't think they had a meeting anyway.
I don't think they do.
I told you about the sewer project. We'll know how that's proceeding when we get the feedback on it. I had a very good meeting and work session with Barry Bass, Eric Wilson, his attorney, Will Hostler, ours, and myself in this office about a week ago to talk about how we structure the properties, where you and I talked about, do we plot them out or site condo? And Will's confident we can do a site condo, so we have some latitude on how we divide it up. Once we get that done, I think we have a document, and everybody was in agreement at the meeting. We think we've solved the last issue. I know I've said this before, but we're pretty confident now that we actually have consumers in agreement on all of the issues for the easement on it. So that should be getting done. Will is going to finish up the easement. He's going to finish up the sale document on Station 1 and the contract for the new station, because we also covered that. There were no obstacles or disagreements. Everybody was in agreement with it. That it's just Will and Eric have to write the versions of it and agree before we have Barry and us take it to the board for final approval. But it's all coming down the pipe finally for the end of it. Once we get that done, and as I told you, we're working a little bit on the marketing pitch for the township's property. But I have had a lot of people that have been calling me about this property, saying somehow they'd like to be the guy selling stuff or have somebody interested in it. So I'm pretty confident once we're actually structured in place and have the marketing pitch, I think we're going to go gangbusters on it. I really do.
Everybody here, I'm in a parallel industry rarely, and I've had a number of people inquire, what is the whole industrial park all about? So there's going to be a lot of interest there. The brokers are one thing, because they all want
Commission.
potential for a commission to earn a fee. It'll be nice when some of the end users come forward and see what's this all about.
Yep. I think it's going to go very well, and we're going to have to do it in phases, because I don't want to bore everybody with all of it right now, but we're trying to phase it so that while we're developing it, it's on the parcels that aren't being used for anything now, that are all mined out, and that we don't take out the Hall Road or the berm until the very end, which actually is the property, I think, with the highest market value because of the visibility from Grange Hall and I-75. So it looks like it's roughly 4 phases, but when we get done with all of that structure stuff, I'll have Will come in and we'll have a regular board meeting just to talk about it, so everybody can get comfortable with what we're getting ready to do. But I'm very confident now. It's finally all fallen into place.
You want to mention something about the marketing meeting?
Oh, the one we got, that's
I think it's
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, it's Thursday morning. Yeah, you found out about, I can't remember the name of the group. It's not written on my calendar. It's an economic development group in the Detroit metro area to promote businesses. And they actually do it, I guess, kind of ad hoc, right? Without a fee structure. And so Jim had heard about it from one of his meetings, and I'm not sure, we'll find out when we talk to him, but it might be one of those groups that is tied in with economic development in the county. But they think they can give us some help, so we're having a conference call that you set up with her, which is great for Thursday.
It's entirely cost neutral to the township.
Yeah.
The money comes from the state and federal government. They engage 1 of 3 civil engineering firms to help with graphics and associated other things. And hey, if it's free and it's free knowledge, it's all good.
Yeah, no, I'm optimistic. All the stuff is coming through that's falling into place now. It's just coming kind of fast. Okay, Patty, did you have anything?
Yep, a couple of things. So we're getting ready for the November election. Teresa helped me today. Thank you very much. We proofed the ballot, so it was all had to be in by 4 o'clock. It's been sent. So they should be going to print. Obviously, we don't have them yet. If anybody wants an absent voter ballot application, just call the office or come in and we'll get you one. If you haven't already sent one in or checked vote, gotten one for the primary and checked the primary and the general election. Payroll, the last Dominion's done on the 30th. And then we had a quick look into a couple other payrolls. We're gonna go still with the Envision that Ken suggested, Ken Polka, the auditor. And he's gonna get rolling on that and get us started and set up. Dominion's will do, our last payroll with Dominion will be dated September 30th. And then the October board meeting will be on Tuesday, the 11th, as the office will be closed Monday, the 10th for Columbus Day. And anything else? I'm good. That's all I have.
Teresa, did you have anything on that?
Just that Wednesday is September 14th. That's the date that taxes for summer are due or deferment applications.
Saw my
should be
box
turned in.
runneth over in the morning, huh?
Yes. Gosh, it might be. And that's pretty much, I think, all the treasury, we're busy, and Angela, I'm very thankful. She is an extremely hard worker, and she's done a fantastic job of being my assistant. So I'd like to publicly thank her.
The only other thing I forgot to mention is I think I gave you all, I could give you all a copy of the OPEB report we had to get because Ken said you need to do it. The state wants the full OPEB every 2 years. We had one last year and we were in good shape, but they made us, we have to do it or he has to send a letter to the state saying we didn't do it. So this is just letting you know that the OPEB, and I gave Chief a text message, I think the other day when I got it, but everything's in great shape. The fire department's 172.81%. Combined of the township and the fire together is it's still at 230.36. So we're in great shape. I never had any doubt we weren't. I feel bad we had to spend the money for it, but is that or get kind of a slap on the hand from the state for not filing it. Okay, so with that, any public questions or comments before we move to the fire board? Seeing none, motion to adjourn would be in order.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Any questions or comments from the board? Any from the audience? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Chief, we're all reconvened for your fire board meeting and the meeting is yours.
We had 88 calls in the month of August, which is about average. Bringing our total 595. That's a big 31.2. As you know, we're short people still.
Yeah.
So I'd like to recommend hiring Joseph Ketzler. He's a firefighter EMTB. He currently works for MedStar, Lockfoot in Springfield.
That's the one we talked about at lunch today.
And he wants to leave MedStar because he's just doing transfers there. So we guarantee him he could get some hours here and he can still work at obviously Springfield and Lockfoot. So I'd like to get a motion to hire Joseph Ketzler, fill-in firefighter EMTB, and we have his application. We just don't have his I-9.
Okay, I'll make a motion. We approve hiring Joseph Ketzler as firefighter EMT, subject to getting his paperwork. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any questions or comments from the board? Janelle, would you take a roll call on it?
Bill,
Yes.
Christopher,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, the Ren Fest and Rotten Manor are in full swing and
No, Wally's very easy to work with though.
we received the new Lucas device and it's in operation in L 42 now. If you recall, the other one was beyond economic.
Yep.
Kevin, what's Lucas?
The CPR
The thing
device.
is,
Thank you.
pumps your chest automatically.
Well, it frees up actually several people.
From having to do it, yeah.
Just do engine pumping, engine pump testing, begins, I think, tomorrow. I just looked at the email. As you know, we get that done every year. We will not do the ladder because we had ladder one tested after the village fire.
Well, that was good.
Damage, but it passed. And it completely passed. Other than that, the got lost common this weekend, so a lot of people go up there, so this is a tough weekend for us as far as manning it. So,
You're gonna have enough for the Renaissance Festival, you think?
yes.
That was a drawn out yes.
Not yet, yes. And that's all I have. Any
Okay,
questions?
any questions or comments from the audience? If not, the motion to adjourn would be in order.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Any questions or comments from the board and from the audience? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.